What's going on, guys? So there's a lot of videos already about Cybertrucks getting wrapped in vinyl, color PPF, and all sorts of things. But I feel like there hasn't been a lot of content around how it's actually been done. We are actually going to show you and install the door in the front door and the rear door. The first one is going to be in vinyl, and then the other one, the back door, is actually going to be in color PPF. For this experiment, we're going to be using Avery Dennison Khaki Green for the front door. And then for the rear door, we are going to be using a new brand called Evios. I think I said that right. But they have some incredible colors. They're really big into the color PPF. And if you want to look at some of the instructional, you can go to courses.testbros.com. But this is just more to kind of show you what it entails for both products. For vinyl, it's going to be a lot thinner. The benefits of it is going to be, it's a lot cheaper than color PPF. Color PPF is still extremely expensive. So even if you do it with like Tesla, for example, it's I think $6,000 to $6,500. Vinyl is gonna probably run you between a reputable shop, probably 30, 35 maybe 3,000 or so. And part of that is because the material is just significantly cheaper. We removed the mirror already. We have a video on that. And then also the trims, it allows you to really tuck in all the way instead of just tucking in and stopping in the beginning. So let's go ahead and get started. So what I like to do is kind of use the magnets. And one thing that's a little bit unique about, this is actually our kit, is that we score it into sections, right? So that makes it really easy. So right now, before you start, you can just kind of align everything first. So kind of get this aligned. You can just tear it back and then start with the first section. So I'm going to go ahead and just get that started. You can see how pliable this material is. I'm just going to use, for vinyl, you're going to be using microfiber felt squeegee. We're just going to go ahead and squeegee up. Look at that. And it goes all the way. And this is a dry install. I think I already mentioned that, but just so you know, this is what I mean by dry install. There's no water at all. You actually don't want any water around the vinyl. It will make it difficult. Now that we have that done, we can go ahead and see if we can get it up like this and go ahead and peel the next section. So I think one of the challenges of vinyl that I think people are gonna face, or like do-yourselfers, is going to be weather, right? So certain areas, like today is incredibly humid. So it's a very different landscape than it would be if it wasn't as humid as today, okay? Just so you guys know. But once you glass, we call it glassing it out, you can see if you have bubbles, you can literally just get it out with the squeegee. And then you just want to make sure that you don't trap any air. And I think this is pretty easy to understand for both, but both of them, you're trying to get the air outwards instead of like, you don't want to trap any air within the middle, right? So as I go down, you're just gonna make sure, like using your magnets, that it's still aligned to where you need it to, like that. And then this section is where I have it peeled. So then you go center, and then you go out, center, out. And then I just peel the next section as well. So this is obviously a kit, and shops are definitely probably, no, I know for sure, they're not going to be using a kit. However, I think I've seen a lot of smart shops, they still template it, I think, in-house, and they'll have like their designs because it's just faster. I mean, it's just more efficient, right? If you already have the design done. And it saves you a lot of time because with vinyl or any material, the bigger it is, it gets kind of difficult to work with, right? So you kind of want to control some of that material. And the easy way to do that is have it templated. It doesn't have to be an exact template necessarily. This one is an exact template. So there's some pros and cons to installation of vinyl. I do think that PPF is a little bit easier in some ways, and I'll show you that in a little bit, because of the fact that it kind of shifts around. But I think it's hard to get a really good at PPF, right? Like, cause like when you're like beginning, you just don't have like the muscle memory to like get all the water and bubbles out. Whereas like vinyl, let's say like you missed a section, you can actually just use a wrap glove. Usually it has air release technology and then just push it out. So it's really, I think vinyl is a little bit more forgivable in some ways. And that's kind of why we started out with this kit instead of PPF. And now I'm to the end of it, and I'm just gonna align each end, which is perfect. And then, all right, that happened. That's not a problem. And let me just like, I don't know. Oh, I forgot there's a Test Bros logo there. But let me just like do this on purpose, just because I want to show you. Like you see this wrinkle right here, you just heat it up. And it goes away. And it's memory based, right? So it'll revert back to its original form, right? So that's really cool. I forgot that I had the Test Bros logos right under here, so I just need to be careful about that. And what we're doing in this case is something called embossing. So what you do is you actually put vinyl underneath it. You squeegee over like this, and you want to use definitely good amount of pressure and even. And once you get to the end, you don't have to be in such an angle. Look at that. You got to make sure you get all the bubbles out. But then you want to use some heat, and then you can clean up all those edges before I seal it all up. Awesome. So it looks really clean. And here's one thing about vinyl that I found is that adhesion is a little bit better. So like, I'm just gonna go ahead and do the bottom right here, but you just need to post heat it. So let's say we got everything done, no bubbles at all. We do something called post heat, and we want to use some heat, and then you can roll over the edges pretty well. And we give it a little bit more material so you can go to the back part of that door. And I'll show you once we open the actual door as well. Look at that. So really, really nice coverage. But what we do for these is we put a slit. So you can see there's a slit right here. And I kind of like using my finger first. And then you see there's another relief cut here. And then there's another relief cut. So our design is pretty accurate. And then of course the other side here, and again, this is not an instructional, but I wanted to kind of give you a very even video of like how vinyl is done, even to the edges, right? So right here, you can see the edge, it sticks really well, and you want to use heat. You get all the edges down. And look at that, look how clean that is. Okay, so this is what a good edge will look like. You don't need to go all the way in. Typically when you're going all the way in, you have to pay way more money because it just takes way longer, right? So this corner looks awesome. And then we can focus a little bit on this edge. I'm just trying to get it to that straight edge. And then once it's in that straight edge, I could use this tool. Kind of go over all that. Same thing for here. Awesome. And that's it. I mean, while doing a video, we did that in what, like, what was that, 7 minutes or something like that? Somewhere around there. So that is pretty much how the whole car is wrapped, right? So you do the same thing all across the board. So now that we have the khaki green, the Avery Dennison on here, let's go ahead and try color PPF. And this is going to be exciting because part of this video, like we're doing this for the educational aspect of it, but at the same time, we're also like learning, right? Like we're doing R&D, and this is how we do it. Is like I spend a lot of time just working with a bunch of films, because for me, it's not just about what I like. It really has to be like we give it to our team members who have no experience in vinyl or PPF and say, can you install this with no experience? So that's kind of the way we kind of operate. So this is a new film. I like the company. And we have a lot more films that we're testing from, EVIOS, S-Tech, UltraFit, GSWF, and a bunch of other ones that we are currently testing that we'll be talking about in the very, very near future. One thing that is slightly different on Color PPF is, again, it is a wet install, but one other factor, in my opinion, is it doesn't grab, like the edges don't grab as well. So one thing that you might want to do is use an adhesive promoter. And I'm not gonna do it for the whole thing, but I'm just gonna do like half of it, just for the experiment here. Look at this color, this is phenomenal. I love this color so much.